Hare Krishna, welcome to this episode of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Today we will be studying Sārvabhauma Śodhana, the purification of Sārvabhauma Bhattacharya, part 5. I think it's part 5. And we will be reading from chapter 6 of the Madhya Lila, 101st verse, 101st text onwards. We'll just go a little bit of a recap and then we'll go forward. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the argument between Sārvabhauma Bhattacharya and his disciples versus Gopinathacharya. So that was going on, and Mukunda Datta also was there with Gopinathacharya. So the Gopinathacharya was saying that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is God himself, but then they argued. Sārvabhauma Bhattacharya's disciples argued, no, but the Lord is called Triyuga because he only appears in 3 yugas. How can there be an incarnation in Kali Yuga? So, you see, he's known as Three Yuga because in Kali Yuga there is no incarnation of the Lord. So that was their argument. Gopinathacharya continued. Prati juge karen Krishna juga avatar tarkanishta hriday tomar nahi ko vichar. Gopinathacharya continued, there is certainly an incarnation in every age, and such an incarnation is called the Yuga avatar. But your heart has become so hardened by logic and argument that you cannot consider all these facts. We have to base our logic on Shastra. But if we have logic and argument without Shastric base, then, it'll become an unfavorable circumstance. Asan varnastrayo hyasya grihnato nuyugam tanuh shuklo raktas tathapita idanim krishnatam gatah. In the past, your son has had bodies of 3 different colors according to the age. These colors were white, red, and yellow. In this age, Dwapar Yuga, he has accepted a blackish body. Purport. This verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.13 was spoken by Gargamuni when he was performing the rituals at Lord Krishna's name-giving ceremony, Namakaran. He states that the incarnations of the Lord in other ages had been white, red, and yellow. This yellow color refers to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whose bodily complexion was yellowish. This confirms, that's why it's called Gauranga. Gauranga means the golden complexioned incarnation of Krishna. Gauranga, Gaura means fair complexion. This confirms that in past Kali Yugas, the Lord also had incarnated in a body that was yellow in hue. See, it's interesting that Prabhupada said that. This confirms that in the past Kali Yugas, the Lord had also had incarnated in a body that was yellow in hue. It is understood that the Lord incarnates in different colors for the different yugas, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali. Accepting the color yellow, Pita, as well as other characteristics, the Lord incarnated as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the verdict of all Vedic authorities. Iti Dvapara Urvesha Stuvanti Jagadishwaram Nana Tantra Vidhanena Kalavapi Tatha Shrunu. In the age of Kali as well as in Dwapar Yuga, the people offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead by various mantras and observe the regulative principles of the supplementary Vedic literatures. Now please hear of this from me. Purport. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.31. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yajnaihi Sankirtana Prayar Yajantihi Sumedhasaha. In this age of Kali, those who are intelligent perform the congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead who appears in this age, always describing the glories of Krishna. That incarnation is yellowish in hue and is always associated with his plenary expansions such as Sri Nityananda Prabhu and personal expansions such as Gadadhara, as well as his devotees and associates such as Swarup Damodar. Purport. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32 is explained by Srila Jiva Goswami in his Krama Sandarbha as quoted by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in regard to the explanation of Adilila 3rd chapter verse 52. So, an important point which I mentioned in the previous session as well is that to test whether somebody is an incarnation or not, usually Prabhupada said, not usually, Prabhupada mentioned that, we can ask whether he can show his universal form. But even if he shows, we may not have the eyes to see. So the best way, the flawless way of testing whether somebody is an incarnation or not is to understand the Shastric references and see through the Shastra. Now, that's the best way to see it, because we cannot challenge, because we can challenge somebody, okay, show me your universal form. But then when it comes to Krishna, we cannot challenge him. So that person can claim that you're challenging, so I won't reveal myself to the challenging people. Naham Prakasha Sarvasa, he can say. So he may be qualified, he may be God, he can show, but then we may not have eyes to see. Or we may have eyes to see, but he is not God. So how to determine the fact whether he's God or not? Through Shastra. Of course, now nobody can claim, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the incarnation for Kali Yuga and finished. Now nobody can claim. But Shastric statements are statements which, even if I am not qualified to see the universal form or whatever, Shastric knowledge will tell us. So I don't need to be qualified in order to know whether somebody is God or not, if I see through the Shastra and from the proper parampara. So that enables us to have flawless knowledge, Shabda Pramana. So since this verse was referred to, we will go here, Sri Jiva Goswami's explanation in Krama Sandarbha. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yagnaihi sankirtana prayair yajantehi sumedhasah. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. Purport. This text is from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32. Srila Jiva Goswami has explained this verse in his commentary on the Bhagavatam known as the Krama Sandarbha, wherein he says that Lord Krishna also appears with a golden complexion. That golden Lord Krishna is Lord Chaitanya, who is worshipped by intelligent men in this age. That is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam by Gargamuni, who said that although the child Krishna was blackish, he also appears in three other colors, red, white, and yellow. 10.8.13, just now we saw. He exhibited his white and red complexions in the Satya and Treta ages respectively. He did not exhibit the remaining color yellow, gold, until he appeared as Lord Chaitanya, who is known as Gaurahari. Srila Jiva Goswami explains that Krishna Varnam means Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Krishna Varna and Krishna Chaitanya are equivalent. The name Krishna appears with both Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya Krishna. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he always engages in describing Krishna and thus enjoys transcendental bliss by chanting and remembering his name and form. So Krishna Varna, Varna means category, like Varnashram, Brahmana Varna, Kshatriya Varna, Vaishya Varna, Shudra Varna. So Varna means category. Varna also means Varnayati, so description. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the category of Krishna, and he's always describing or glorifying Krishna by chanting his name and talking about him. So both, it's a pun and it's an intended pun. Krishna Varnam. So he's in the category of Krishna, but he's always engaged in glorifying Krishna. Lord Krishna himself appears as Lord Chaitanya to preach the highest gospel. Lord Chaitanya always chants the holy name of Krishna and describes it also, and because he is Krishna himself, whoever meets him will automatically chant the holy name of Krishna and later describe it to others. He injects one with transcendental Krishna consciousness, which merges the chanter in transcendental bliss. In all respects, therefore, he appears before everyone as Krishna, either by personality or by sound. So, Krishna, he is Krishna himself, and by chanting Krishna's name is also Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also Krishna. And because he's Krishna himself administering himself to others, so they also automatically become ecstatic and chant Krishna's name. And therefore, that's why it is said here, he appears before everyone as Krishna, either by personality or by sound. So now we do not need to be dejected that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is no longer with us. Kalikale Namarupe Krishna avatar, Krishna is incarnated in the form of the holy name in Kali Yuga. So by chanting Krishna's name, we are always with him. We are not bereft of his association. So reading on, simply by seeing Lord Chaitanya, one at once remembers Lord Krishna. One may therefore accept him as Vishnu Tattva. In other words, Lord Chaitanya is Lord Krishna himself. Sango Pangastra Parshadam further indicates that Lord Chaitanya is Lord Krishna. His body is always decorated with ornaments of sandalwood and with sandalwood paste. By his super excellent beauty, he subdues all the people of the age. In other descents, the Lord sometimes used weapons to defeat the demoniac. But in this age, the Lord subdues them with his all-attractive figure as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Jiva Goswami explains that his beauty is his astra or weapon to subdue the demons. Because he is all attractive, it is to be understood that all the demigods lived with him as his companions. So here, a very important point. His beauty is his astra. Now, Krishna's beauty is not different from Krishna. And whatever qualities we may have, like you see, beauty is one of the 6 opulences of Bhagavan. So, a person who is Bhagyavan, Bhagavan and Bhagyavan. Bhagyavan means one who is bestowed some empowerment by the Bhagavan. So, he has 6 opulences, Bhagavan has 6 opulences. So, a little portion of these opulences he may bestow upon the living entities. Some people may be very rich, some people may be very strong, some very famous, some very beautiful one, some very knowledgeable, some very renounced, or a combination of a few of these things. So all these are astra. They are all whatever we have are our weapons in the service of Krishna. Just like Arjuna had his talents of archery, he used that in Krishna's service. So whatever talents, whatever we have, skills, we have to use it in Krishna's service. Whatever we have, it may be skills, it may be naturally endowed. Like some people may be naturally good at speaking, naturally good at cooking, naturally good at organizing. Yeah? So all these things can be used, our astra can be used in Krishna's service. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jiva Goswami is saying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's beauty is his astra, because people just by seeing him became devotees. And a pure devotee is always beautiful. Just by seeing him, another place Prabhupada writes, even by the smile of a pure devotee, he can make others into a devotee. And because he is all attractive, it is to be understood that all the demigods live with him as his companions. His acts were uncommon and his associates wonderful. When he propagated the Sankirtan movement, he attracted many great scholars and acharyas, especially in Bengal and Orissa. Lord Chaitanya is always accompanied by his best associates like Lord Nityananda, Advaita, Gadadhar, and Srivas. Srila Jiva Goswami cites a verse from the Vedic literature which says that there is no necessity of performing sacrificial demonstrations or ceremonial functions. He comments that instead of engaging in such external pompous exhibitions, all people, regardless of caste, color, or creed, can assemble together and chant Hare Krishna to worship Lord Chaitanya. See this? There is no necessity of performing sacrificial demonstrations or ceremonial functions. He comments that instead of engaging in such external pompous exhibitions, all people, regardless of caste, color, or creed, can assemble together to chant Hare Krishna to worship Lord Chaitanya. So recently there was a devotee who had a Griha Pravesh, and they were asking, please have some yajna in our house, a fire yajna. So we explained, no, we should not be too attached to, oh, it is only pure when we do some fire in the house, then only it's pure. No, we explained, no, it is, since you're devotees, you should understand even more strongly that Harinam Sankirtan Yajna is the Yajna for the Kali Yuga. And here Jiva Goswami is confirming that point. And anyway, if we really want fire, then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that this Sankirtan Yajna is the seven-tongued flame of sacrifice. So sacrificial fire, there is the fire, right, in the yajna. So the different flames that come, they are like the tongues. Actually, the whole sacrificial fire is considered the tongue of Vishnu, and the Vedhi, the pit, yajna pit, is actually the mouth of Lord Vishnu, and the grains we're offering, Agnihotra. So the ghee and the grains. So the seven-tongued. So in the fire, there are all these tongues, like tongue, it is coming, all these flames. So, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur called the Sankirtan Yajna as a seven-tongued flame. Why did you say that? Because in the Cheto Darpana Marjanam verse, the first verse of Shikshashtaka, the seven aspects, seven glories of the holy name, Sankirtan Yajna, are mentioned there. Cheto Darpana Marjanam, it cleanses our heart. Bhavad Mahadavagni Nirvapaname, it extinguishes the blazing fire of material existence, forest fire of material existence. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, it gives a cooling effect, just like the moon, and Kairava means like the white lotus, and the white lotus of good fortune, and the cooling, soothing moonshine of millions of moons. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, that moonlight, when it is, moonlight is cooling, sunlight is hot. So it has a cooling effect on the soul. We are blazing, we are hot, we're blazing in this forest fire, and this is like has a cooling effect, the chanting of Hare Krishna. So that's the third aspect. Vidyavadhu Jivanam, it is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It is the core of all transcendental knowledge. It is concentrated transcendental knowledge. All knowledge is there in the Mahamantra. In fact, every aspect of spiritual knowledge is an expansion from the Mahamantra. It is a fact because if you see, what is knowledge? Knowledge means sambandha and abhidheya and prayojana. That's it. That's the whole gamut of knowledge. So, by saying Hare, Hare means the energy of the Lord. Now, that is Srimati Radharani. From Radharani come forth Lakshmis, and from Lakshmi, the material expansion is Durga. And everything that is here, Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha Chaya Vayasya Bhuvanani Vibharti Durga. So, all of this, everything is her energy, is Krishna's energy, expansions of Radharani. So in the Hare Krishna, everything is included. Krishna and everything that is to be used in his service, everything is included as property of Srimati Radharani. And in that way, we are beseeching the Lord that please engage me in your service. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. We are begging the Lord, their Lordship Sri Sri Radha Krishna, to engage us in their service. Abhidheya. And Prayojana is the continuous chanting and in love of God, Shuddhanam. So everything that there may be in spiritual knowledge, now you may say, no, body and soul, we are the Atma, that is not there in the Hare Krishna mantra. It is there. Because just by saying the prayer, oh Radha Krishna, please engage me in your service, we are implicitly asking, please take me away from the service of Maya. I am serving my body and my lust, anger, greed, all these bad things that I have, envy, madness, illusion. So I want to not serve kamadinam katina katidha palita durnideshas tesham jata maina karunana trapanopashanti utsrijjaitanath yadupate sampratam labdha buddhis tvamayatah sharanam abhayam mam niyung shvatmadasye. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that now I am giving up. After coming to your lotus feet, Krishna, I am giving up the service to all these kamadinam, the lust, everything, etc. So, by saying that, we are already saying that I am not the body and I'm not going to serve the bodily expansions. I'm going to serve you. I want to serve you, Radha Krishna. I'm your eternal servant. Jiver Swarup Hoy Krishner Nitya Das. So, that is inherent, implicit in that Mahamantra. Because we cannot ask for Radha Krishna's service and then engage in Maya service and engage in the bodily concept of life. No. So, everything, all knowledge is included in this. Vidyavadhu Jivanam. Anandambudhi Vardhanam. Ananda Ambudhi means the ocean of happiness. Vardhanam means increasing. It gives us an ever increasing ocean of happiness. Anandambudhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam. At every moment, it makes us taste the nectar. Makes us taste the nectar of the holy name. It makes us taste the nectar of Krishna himself. Rupa Goswami says it's so nectarian that I want millions of ears and millions of mouths to chant. Pratipadam Purna Amrita Swadanam. Full nectar at every step. Full nectar. Sarvatma Snapanam. Two meanings are there. Sarva Atma Snapanam means the purification of all souls, and Sarva Atma. Sarvatma Snapanam. Complete purification of our soul. Atma. Snapanam means bathing. Complete bath of the soul and of all souls. So there are 7. So Chetodarpanam Arjanam, Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, Vidyavadhu Jivanam, Anandamudhi Vardhanam, Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam, Sarvatma Snapanam. Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. All glories to Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which has these 7 aspects, 7 effects. So that's why it's called the 7-tongued flame of Sankirtan Yajna. So Yes, there is this 118:12. This is this is a very funny verse. You know, just before they heard, they asked Sudha Goswami to speak Bhagavatam because they were actually the sages all assembled at Naimisharanya and were performing some big sacrifice. So because Kali Yuga has started, so we need to do a huge sacrifice for the benefit of the world. So it's going to be tough times, so let's do that. But they were, this is what they said. कर्मण्यस्मिन्ननाश्वासे धूमधूम्रात्मनां भवान् आपाययत्य आपाययति गोविंद पाद पद्मासवं मधु. We have just begun the performance of this fruitive activity, a sacrificial fire, but we are without certainty of its result because of the many imperfections in our action. Our bodies have become black from the smoke, but we are factually pleased by the nectar of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead Govinda, which you are distributing. So, in two meanings, have become black from the smoke means, first of all, the smoke will make the all the what is it called, soot from the fire, the ash will, the smoke will make the body black. Apart from that, there is also lack of certainty whether what we are doing is actually going to benefit or not, because there's so many discrepancies, and with Kali Yuga already begun, so we're not sure whether we're doing the right thing. But when you are speaking Krishna Katha, it is giving us actual nectar. We can perceive, the difference. We can perceive the purification that is happening. Whereas with this yajna performance, we're not sure whether the purification was happening or not. In fact, we should be always sure what is happening. Susukham kartum avyayam. Krishna said, you can taste full nectar at every step. Joyfully performed Krishna consciousness. All right. He comments that instead of engaging in such external pompous exhibitions, all people, regardless of caste, color, or creed, can assemble together and chant Hare Krishna to worship Lord Chaitanya. Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam indicates that prominence should be given to the name of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya taught Krishna consciousness and chanted the name of Krishna. Therefore, to worship Lord Chaitanya, everyone should together chant the Mahamantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. To propagate worship in churches, temples, or mosques is not possible because people have lost interest in that. But anywhere and everywhere, people can chant Hare Krishna. Thus, worshipping Lord Chaitanya, they can perform the highest activity and fulfill the highest religious purpose of satisfying the Supreme Lord. Srila Sārvabhauma Śodhana, a famous disciple of Lord Chaitanya, said, the principle of transcendental devotional service having been lost, Sri Krishna Chaitanya has appeared in order to deliver again the process of devotion. He is so kind that he is distributing love of Krishna. Everyone should be attracted more and more to his lotus feet as humming bees are attracted to a lotus flower. I don't know the exact verse in Sanskrit. That'll be good to know. So, okay, so we will go back. Another reference from the Vedic literature is being quoted by Gopinath Acharya here. Suvarnavarno hemango varangaschandanangadi sannyasakrichamah shanto nishtha shanti parayanaha. The Lord in the incarnation of Gaurasundar has a golden complexion. Suvarna means gold. Indeed, his entire body, which is very nicely constituted, is like molten gold. Sandalwood pulp is smeared all over his body. He will take the fourth order of spiritual life sannyasa and will be very much self-controlled. He will be distinguished from Mayavadi sannyasis in that he will be fixed in devotional service and will spread the Sankirtan movement. So Gopinath Acharya quoted this verse from the Mahabharat's Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra. So this verse is actually composite verse. You know what that means? It means it's not a single verse actually. The first two lines of this verse is from the 79th shloka of the Vishnu Sahasranama. And the second two lines are from the 62nd verse of the Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra. So they're not like one verse. Two lines are taken from one verse and two lines taken from another verse and then joined and made into a composite verse. So they both are there, but 79 and 62 in the Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra. তোমার আগে তো কথার নাহি প্রয়োজন ঊষর ভূমিতে যেন বীজের রোপণ. Gopinath Acharya then said, there is no need to quote so much evidence from the Shastras, for you are a very dry speculator. There is no need to sow seeds in barren land. See, I am quoting all these things, but you are a barren land. Your heart is like a barren land. No need to sow seeds. তোমার উপরে তার কৃপা তোমার উপরে তার কৃপা যবে হবে এসব সিদ্ধান্ত তবে তুমি কহিবে. The verse is Madhya 2:6-55. Okay, so later in this chapter that verse comes. Sārvabhauma Acharya acknowledges when he becomes actually purified, Śodhana happens. Sārvabhauma Śodhana happens, then he comes with that verse. कालान्नष्टं भक्तियोगं निजं यः प्रादुष्कर्तुं कृष्णचैतन्य नाम आविर्भूतस्तस्य पादारविन्दे गाढं गाढं लीयतां चित्तभृङ्गः. Let my consciousness, which is like a honeybee, take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has just now appeared as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to teach the ancient system of devotional service to himself. This system had also almost been lost due to the influence of time. All right. So, when the Lord will be pleased with you, you will also understand these conclusions and will quote from the Shastras. He is predicting now. When the Lord will be pleased with you, you will also understand. You will also understand these conclusions and will quote from the Shastras. You will also quote from the Shastras. So, even if Shastric evidence is presented, you see, if one is not willing to listen, then he cannot still learn. We should have the right attitude. Pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. তোমার যে শিষ্য কহে কুতর্ক নানাবাদ ইহার কি দোষ এ মায়ার প্রসাদ. The false arguments and philosophical word jugglery of your disciples are not faults of theirs. They have simply received the benediction of Mayavad philosophy. 5-4. What is this? 6-4-31. यच्छक्तयो वदतां वादिनां वै विवाद संवाद भुवो भवन्ति कुर्वन्ति चैषां मुहुरात्ममोहं तस्मै नमोऽनन्त गुणाय भुम्ने. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is full of unlimited qualities and whose different potencies bring about agreement and disagreement between disputants. See? Krishna is full of unlimited qualities and whose different potencies bring about agreement and disagreement between disputants. Thus, the illusory energy again and again covers the self-realization of both disputants. Purport. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 6.4.31. Yuktam chasanti sarvatra bhashante brahmana yatha mayam madiyam udgrihya vadatam kim nudurghatam. In almost all cases, whatever learned brahmanas speak becomes accepted. Nothing is impossible for one who takes shelter of my illusory energy and speaks under her influence. See? That means nothing is impossible for one who takes shelter of my illusory energy and speaks under her influence. What does this mean? Oh, if we take shelter of Maya, nothing will be impossible for us? No. He's saying, like there is a Bengali proverb, Pagal ki na bole, chhagal ki na khai. Means, what a fool does not say and what a goat does not eat. Goat will eat anything, chhagal ki na khai. What does a goat not eat? It will eat everything. Similarly, pagal ki na bole. What does a fool not say? Nothing is impossible for him to say. Whereas one who is actually not fool, he will not say things which are untruth or which are, not correct or not in the right way. But for the fool, he will say anything. Nothing is out of bounds for him because he has no moral compass, he has no spiritual compass, he doesn't know where to go, what is right, what is wrong, nothing. He will say anything and everything. So in that way, nothing is impossible. So there is no uh, depth to there is no bottom to this bottomless character of a person who's under illusory energy. There's another Jagadananda Pandit wrote, um, পিশাচি পাইলে যেন মাতি ছন্ন হয় মায়াগ্রস্ত জীবের হয় সেই ভাব উদয়. Maya person under the influence of Maya is like a ghostly haunted person. Such a person can do anything and say anything under the influence of nothing is impossible for that ghostly haunted person. He will even attack his own mother or father. He doesn't care. Nothing is impossible for him. In that way, nothing is impossible. Not that, oh, he will attain Krishna. Nothing is impossible. Krishna is also impossible for him if he takes shelter of Maya. Don't misunderstand. To understand in context. Purport 11:22:4. In this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead explains that his illusory energy can perform the impossible. So it is the illusory energy which performs the impossible, which makes false look like truth. Falsity look like truth. Such is the power of the illusory energy. In many cases, philosophical speculators have covered the real truth and have boldly set forth false theories. Have covered the real truth and have boldly set forth false theories. In ancient times, philosophers like Kapila, Gautama, Jaimini, Kanada, and similar Brahmanas propounded useless philosophical theories. The Shaddarshan is considered here useless. Useless philosophical theories, and in modern days, so called scientists are setting forth many false theories about the creation backed up by seemingly logical arguments. This is all due to the influence of the Supreme Lord's illusory energy. The illusory energy, therefore, sometimes appears correct because it is emanating from the Supreme Correct. Wow. The illusory energy, therefore, sometimes appears correct because it is emanating from the Supreme Correct. So actually, there's a good verse, a good purport as an extension for the 6.4.31 verse that we usually quote, because just need to take note of this. So, the illusory energy therefore appears correct because it is emanating from the Supreme Correct. To avoid the very bewildering illusory influence, one must accept the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as they are. Only then can one escape the influence of the illusory energy. तबे भट्टाचार्य कहे जहाँ गोसाइर स्थाने आमार नामे गण सहित कर निमंत्रणे. After hearing this from Gopinath Acharya, Sārvabhauma Acharya said, first go to the place where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is staying and invite him here with his associates. Ask him on my account. प्रसादानि तारे कराहो आगे भिक्षा पश्चातासी आमारे कराए हो शिक्षा. Take Jagannath Prasadam and first give it to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. After that, come back here and teach me well. Acharya Bhagini Pate Shalak Bhattacharya Ninda Stuti Hasya Shiksha Korana Acharya. Gopinath Acharya was the brother-in-law of Sārvabhauma Bhattacharya, and therefore their relationship was very sweet and intimate. Under the circumstances, Gopinath Acharya taught him by sometimes blaspheming him, sometimes praising him, and sometimes laughing at him. This had been going on for some time. So he's patiently trying to educate Sārvabhauma Bhattacharya. Although he is called Sārvabhauma, but Gopinath Acharya was higher than him. आचार्यर सिद्धांते मुकुंदेर হইল সন্তোষ ভট্টাচার্যের বাক্যে মনে হইল দুঃখ রোষ Sri Mukunda Datta felt very satisfied to hear the conclusive statements of Gopinath Acharya, but he became very unhappy and angry to hear the statements put forward by Sārvabhauma Bhattacharya. This is an experience that devotees will have when there is a debate. Um, when there are conclusive statements presented, the true devotees they will enjoy, whereas those who are not, they will find it how to say they will be triggered. They'll be triggered and they can't stand the truth. They will present secondary evidence as the primary because they have already stuck their head at a certain conclusion and they don't want to actually hear the truth. I remember this. It reminds me of this incident in China in 2013. I remember very, very vividly. So we had a Rath Yatra in China that year, and it was the first time Rath Yatra in China. And there was one so-called devotee, so-called Ritvik devotee, that too. But he was very, very, very envious, extremely envious. And there was a showdown between him and Sundar Gopal Prabhu. And all the devotees were witness to it. Showdown in the sense, so first that devotee, he spoke about a certain issue, about how to, the topic was, the question was, how can we solve or unite devotees and solve their differences? Like if people have different opinions, how to actually resolve everything and get everybody behind a united purpose, how to get them united. So he had his own explanation, not referring to shastras. He said Feng Song. Feng Song means in Chinese, just tolerate, just like everything's okay, just peace, just make peace, like that. There was no shastric or logical or presentation. Then the devotees said, okay, now we want to hear from Sundar Gopal Prabhu. And then he brought out, that's the first time I saw that 329, 8, 9 and 10 verses. The devotional service in mode of goodness, passion and ignorance. So he first explained why there are differences between devotees. Because devotional service, because their question was, if everybody is devotee, then why we should have so many differences among ourselves and why we can't unite? Because they had a problem at the time. And Prabhu explained, like, this is the reason why we're in different modes. Although we're practicing devotional service, we're coming from these modes. And unless we transcend, unless we unite on the instruction of the Guru, we cannot really unite. And that is the meaning of coming to Shuddha Sattva. And only on Shuddha Sattva platform, there can be unity. And in this way, for that reason, to get a mode of goodness stronger in our lives, we have to do the things that will elevate us to mode of goodness. So we have to come for the morning program and hear every day. There should be Bhagavatam class, there should be reading of the books, there should be Krishna Seva, Krishna Prasadam. You cannot eat anything and everything outside. So many things. So the whole presentation he gave. After that, he got a standing ovation. And that was very, very logical, conclusive. And I was like super proud. I was like super happy to be a witness of that that showdown. I clearly remember all the arguments. I clearly remember their reactions. It's like imprinted in my head, that memory of that event. So when I read this, immediately it took me there. This is in Guangzhou, in China. गोसाएर स्थाने आचार्य कोयलो आगमन भट्टाचार्य नामे तारे कोयलो निमंत्रण. According to the instructions of Sārvabhauma Bhattacharya, Gopinath Acharya went to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and invited him on the Bhattacharya's behalf. मुकुंद सहित कहे भट्टाचार्यर कथा भट्टाचार्यर निंदा करे मने पाया व्यथा. The Bhattacharya statements were discussed before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gopinath Acharya and Mukunda Datta disapproved of the Bhattacharya statements because they caused mental pain. सुनि महाप्रभु कहे ऐच्छे मत मत कह आमा प्रति भट्टाचार्यर हय अनुग्रह. Hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Do not speak like that. Sārvabhauma Bhattacharya has shown great affection and mercy toward me." You see, although Sārvabhauma Bhattacharya actually was offending, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so kind that saying, "Do not speak like that." He has shown me great affection and mercy towards me. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is seeing that, okay, somehow or other he has served me. That is not going to go in vain. So because he fainted, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Sārvabhauma Bhattacharya did not understand the real position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he took pity and compassion upon him, and out of that feeling he did. So Ajnata Sukriti, he did not know what he was doing actually. He does not know that he is doing actually devotional service, and this is Krishna himself. But somehow or other, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu um, engaged him in his service under the pretext of him fainting and all that. Of course, he really fainted, but um, so there was also internally he was in the ecstasy, but externally he was also purifying Sārvabhauma Bhattacharya. So the Sārvabhauma Śodhana not only happened when he understood the full philosophy, but it started from the very first meeting between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sārvabhauma Bhattacharya, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fainted and Sārvabhauma took him to his home. That itself was service. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sevam Managapi Kritam Bahuda Bhupaiti. Even a small service rendered by his devotee, he takes it as being very great. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took it as very great seva and is saying he has shown me great affection and mercy. So don't be too angry at him. आमार संन्यास धर्म चाहे न राखिते वात्सल्य करुणा करेन की दोष इहाते. Out of paternal affection for me, he wants to protect me and see that I follow the regulative principles of a sannyasi. What fault is there in this? So see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying the good thing. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is blasphemed, now who is right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is right or Gopinath and Mukunda are right? All three are right. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching how to be a devotee and how to handle criticism when it comes to us. When I am criticized, how I should take it. And Gopinath and Mukundadatta are teaching when the Lord or his devotees are criticized, how they should take it. They should not be tolerant. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching us tolerance. So both examples are correct in their own right. So two lessons we can learn from this. आर दिन महाप्रभु भट्टाचार्य सने आनंदे करेला जगन्नाथ दर्शने. The next morning, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sārvabhauma Bhattacharya together visited the temple of Lord Jagannath. Both of them were in a very pleasant mood. See, Sārvabhauma Bhattacharya is going to Jagannath Mandir, but he is not becoming purified until Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and purified him. भट्टाचार्य संगे तार मंदिरे आइला प्रभु रे आसन दिया आपने वसिला. When they entered the temple, Sārvabhauma Bhattacharya offered Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a seat while he himself sat down on the floor out of due respect for a sannyasi. See, this was the reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas. If he did not take, Sārvabhauma Bhattacharya wouldn't have offered this respect to him. And even though it was not because he understood that he is God himself, he is Krishna himself, but because sannyasi. So for that reason alone, he took sannyas, so that others will at least respect. If this, he said, I am not a sannyasi, I am not a brahmana, I am not kshatriya, I am none of these, right? But then why he remained as a sannyasi? Because that will command respect from the people. Okay, I want them to respect me, because just by respecting me, they can be cured of this material life. So if sannyas, if the social position is such that sannyas is still respected, somewhat respected, okay, I will accept that. So it is a device to bring the people in and make them devotees. So it is Yukta Vairagya. Actually, this sannyas of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Yukta Vairagya. It is not that, oh, I am now renounced. No. It is a means how to engage others in Krishna's service. Vedanta padaite tobe arambha karila, sneha bhakti kori kichu prabhure kahila. He then began to instruct Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on Vedanta philosophy, and out of affection and devotion, he spoke to the Lord as follows. So, although he is sitting below, he is teaching him Vedanta because he thought, okay, here is a young sannyasi. Because he is sannyasi, I will respect him and I will sit down and he sit up. But I will still try to preach because I feel like I'm a father to this person, and then it's my responsibility that he keep his sannyas ashram because he's just a young man. He needs to be very fixed up. So let me help him out in that way. Purport: The Vedanta or Brahma Sutra, written by Srila Vyasadeva, is a book studied by all advanced spiritual students, especially by the sannyasis of all religious communities, sampradayas. The sannyasis must read the Vedanta Sutra to establish their final conclusions concerning Vedic knowledge. Here, of course, the Vedanta mentioned is the commentary of Shankaracharya known as Shariraka Bhashya. Sārvabhauma Bhattacharya intended to convert Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was a Vaishnava sannyasi, into a Mayavadi sannyasi. You see, actually, his intention is not good. He came with a very bad intention from changing him to from Vaishnava to Mayavad sannyasi. He therefore made this arrangement to instruct him in the Vedanta Sutra, according to the Shariraka commentary of Shankaracharya. All the sannyasis of the Shankara Sampradaya enjoy seriously studying the Vedanta Sutra with the Shariraka Bhashya commentary. It is said, Vedanta Vakyeshu Sadaramantah. Vedanta Vakyeshu Sadaramantah. Actually, I remember memorizing this verse. This is there in the Adilila as well. Vedanta Vakyeshu Sadaramantah. One should always enjoy the studies of the Vedanta Sutra. But actually, this can be the real enjoyers of this Vedanta Vakya are the devotees. Vedanta Vakyeshu Sadaramanta. Let me see. Is it quoted there? Vedanta. 741. Yes. Sripad Shankaracharya has given special stress to the study of Vedanta philosophy. Vedanta Vakyeshu Sadaramanta Kaupinavanta Kalu Bhagyavanta. So, a sannyasi accepting the renounced order very strictly and wearing nothing more than a loincloth should always enjoy the philosophical statements in the Vedanta Sutra. But actually, this is a statement for Vaishnavas. In fact, they can really relish the Vedanta Vakyeshu Sadaramanta Kaupinavanta Kalubhagyavanta. So, the devotees actually, you know, um, are more than happy to let go of all material possessions. Here Kaupinavanta means, of course, wearing the kaupin only, as the Babajis do, but also it signifies symbolically the relinquishment of all material, everything in the material world, and just spend all time in Vedanta Vakyeshu Sadaramanta. So, this is actually a very important, very good line. I forgot this. I used to always chant this for many days um, when I was doing the class on this verse after I did this. So anyway, Vedanta Vakyeshu Sadaramanta. So one should always enjoy the studies of the Vedanta Sutra, and that actually means the real meaning of this is, like many times in the Bhagavatam it is said, oh, this is so enthralling, this conversation. Even Sanjay also said in the last 5 verses of the Bhagavad Gita, glorifying the Bhagavad Gita. He was enjoying so much by even recollecting the talks of Krishna and Arjuna. And so many times it is said in the Bhagavatam that, who can stop hearing the glories of the Lord? That is Vedanta Vakyeshu, Veda Anta, Vedanta Krit, Veda Videva Chaham, Vedasya Sarvair Ahameva Vedya. So Vedanta means actually bhakti. Vedanta Vakyeshu Sadaramantaha. It is actually applicable to devotees. Vedanta Shravana e sannyasir dharma nirantara karo tumi Vedanta Shravana. The Bhattacharya said, hearing Vedanta philosophy is a sannyasi's main business. Therefore, without hesitation, you should study Vedanta philosophy, hearing it without cessation from a superior person. Vedanta Shravana e sannyasir dharma. Actually, these lines are very nice, in fact, even for devotees. Vedanta Shravana e sannyasir dharma. Nirantara karo tumi Vedanta Shravana. So, sannyasi should always engage in hearing and chanting. Vedanta Shravana. Should always read about Krishna. Of course, Shankaracharya is saying in his own way Vedanta Shravana and Vedanta Vakyeshu Sadaramanta, but devotee can take it in his own way. He came to bewilder the atheists, bewilder the so-called followers of Vedas, but the double meaning of it is that one should actually always relish Vedanta Vakyeshu. And Vedanta Shravana is our real business. The Bhattacharya said, hearing Vedanta philosophy is sannyasi's main business. Therefore, without hesitation, you should study Vedanta philosophy, hearing it without cessation from a superior person. प्रभु को है मोरे तुम्हें करो अनुग्रह शेष से कर्तव्य तुम्हें जय मोरे कहो. Lord Chaitanya replied, you are very merciful to me and therefore I think it is my duty to obey your order. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Mayavad bhasha sunile hoy sarva nash. Here, he is saying, oh, you are very merciful to me and I think it is my duty to obey your order. Now, this statement is definitely not a very honest statement by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is being courteous, but he is not being honest. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had his own agenda. He wanted to change Sārvabhauma Śodhana, and Sārvabhauma Śodhana's agenda is to change Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So here we can see, Chalayasi, in the Dashavatara Stotra, Bali Maharaj was deceived by Vamanadev. Chalayasi Vikramane Baliradbhuta Vamana. Padanakha Neeraja Nitajana Pavana. Keshavadhrita Vamana Sharira. Jai Jagadisha Hare. So, Chalayasi. So here also Chala is being used. Chala means cheating. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not being very honest here, because he does not really mean that Sārvabhauma Śodhana is actually merciful. And he certainly did not think that it is his duty to obey Sārvabhauma Śodhana's order. He knew very well what Sārvabhauma Śodhana was, but that's what Prabodhananda Saraswati taught us. Dante nidhaya tranakam padayor nipatya कृत्वा च काकुशतमहं ब्रवीमि. हे साधव सकलमेव विहाय दूरात् चैतन्य चंद्र चरणे कुरुतानुरागम. So it's a humble approach, and once he feels very glorified, oh wow, he's listening to me, yes, he's a good boy. So in that way he got his favor, and then finally he defeated him. So it was a pretense, but for the right cause. So pretense, is it good? Because he's not being very honest. We should be honest in our dealings, and why is he saying something when he does not mean it? Well, it is a lower rule. He wants to change him, and for that reason, whatever needs to be applied has to be applied. Even if it is courtesy, if it is not honest, it's okay. It's okay. सात दिन पर्यंत ऐच्छे करे न श्रवणे भाल मंद नाहि कहे वसी मात्र सुने. वसी मात्र सुने. Thus, for 7 days continually, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu listened to the Vedanta philosophy expounded by Sārvabhauma Bhattacharya. However, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not say anything and did not indicate whether it was right or wrong. He simply sat there and listened to the Bhattacharya. अष्टम दिवसे तारे पूछे सार्वभौम सात दिन करो तुम्हें वेदांत श्रवण. On the 8th day, Sārvabhauma Śodhana said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, You have been listening to Vedanta philosophy from me continually for 7 days. ভালো মন্দ নাহি কহ রহ মৌন ধরি বুঝ কি না বুঝ ইহা বুঝিতে না পারে. You have simply been listening, fixed in your silence. Since you do not say whether you think it is right or wrong, I cannot know whether you are actually understanding Vedanta philosophy or not. You see? प्रभु कोहे मूर्ख आमे नाहि अध्ययन তোমার আজ্ঞাতে মাত্র করিয়ে শ্রবণ. Again, feigned humility, but for the ultimate cause. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, I am a fool, and consequently I do not study the Vedanta Sutra. I am just trying to hear it from you because you have ordered me. But he's also teaching another thing, that in the Kali Yuga, everybody is a fool, and they do not study Vedanta Sutra, and they cannot even study Vedanta Sutra, and they end up hearing from these bogus gurus like Sārvabhauma Śodhana before his liberation. And they can get misled. সন্ন্যাসীর ধর্ম লাগে শ্রবণ মাত্র করে তুমি যে অর্থ করো বুঝিতে না পারে. Only for the sake of executing the duties of the renounced order of sannyas do I listen. Unfortunately, I cannot in the least understand the meaning you are presenting. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu presented himself as if he were a sannyasi in name only, or in other words, a number one fool. Mayavadi sannyasis in India are very much accustomed to declaring themselves Jagadgurus, teachers of the world, although they have no information of the outside world and are limited in their experience to a small town or village, or perhaps to the country of India. Nor do such sannyasis have sufficient education. Unfortunately, at the present moment, there are many foolish sannyasis, both in India and elsewhere, who simply read and study Vedic literature without understanding the purport. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was having his discussion with the Chand Kazi, the Muslim magistrate of Navadvip, he recited a verse from Vedic literature to the effect that the order of sannyas is prohibited in this age of Kali. Ashwamedham Gavalambham Sannyasam Palapaitrikam Devarena Sutotpatyam Kalau Pancha Vivarjayet. So sannyas is not allowed in Kali Yuga is the statement of Brahma Vaivarta Purana. Only those who are serious and who follow the regulative principles and study Vedic literature should accept sannyas. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu approved of a sannyasi's reading the Vedanta Sutra or Brahma Sutra, but he did not approve the Shariraka commentary of Shankaracharya. Indeed, he said elsewhere, Mayavadi bhashya sunile hoy sarva nash. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 6.169. If one hears the Shariraka bhashya of Shankaracharya, he is doomed. Thus, a sannyasi, a transcendentalist, must read the Vedanta Sutra regularly, but he should not read the Shariraka bhashya. This is the conclusion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The real commentary on the Vedanta Sutra is Srimad Bhagavatam, Arthoyam Brahma Sutranam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the original commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, written by the author himself, Srila Vyasadeva. Okay, I think I will stop it here. Or okay. So, alright, I think we'll stop here because I'm also quite tired, and we'll see. We'll see if there are any questions, and we'll continue. Tomorrow I can't have a Bhagavad Gita class because I have a program outside. I will see if I can do a makeup class on Wednesday. I can't promise at this point, but that's why I wanted to do it today, although it was going to be late. Because tomorrow also I don't know what to say. Tomorrow can't, but Wednesday I don't know what the situation will be. So I better get one class done at least, if not more. Greenish body. Lord Ramchandra is also considered green. Bhavi Kumar is saying, So we should associate by vibration and not by the physical presence. That is real association, Srila Prabhupada. See, yes, but we still need association of devotees because we are not strong enough to conduct ourselves just after Vani. We need somebody to correct us because yeah, Vani is there, but who's going to correct me when I'm doing something wrong? How would I know what is wrong and right? The many things which we learn in the association of devotees, so we cannot really discount that. Sanatani Pratiksha Deva, you don't know Hindi. You're asking or telling me? I don't know. Dina Krishna Prabhu, oh, he's from Russia. He's here. If people say our Shastra aren't authentic, in other words, they don't accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, should we prove them wrong or it will be a waste of time? So, what is not authentic? Is Srimad Bhagavatam not authentic or is Mahabharat not authentic? Because these verses today were quoted from those sources, Bhagavatam and Mahabharat. So, how can anybody deny that these Shastra are not authentic? In other words, they don't accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Should we prove them wrong? Well, we should always try to prove them wrong and not to win the debate, but to actually change them to help them. We should participate in the debate like that with that motive. Otherwise, not just to, how to say, defeat them. Yeah, 32221. The smile of such a Krishna conscious person is so attractive that simply by smiling, he wins so many admirers, disciples, and followers. All right, I'm already feeling sleepy. Hmm. Core. I'm working as a carer, and there in my duty, sometimes I have to serve chicken to patients, but I'm pure Sattvic and always chanting Radha Radha. Is this will affect my chanting and purity? Unfortunately, yes. In the Manusmriti, there is a verse which it is said that, you know, 8 kinds of people get involved in the killing of the animal: the one who cooks, the one who serves, the one who buys, the one who sells, the one who, you know, kills, one who eats, one who transports. Everybody becomes implicated in the killing of that animal or bird. So, unfortunately, it does affect you. So we got to find what is that? Sato vritte in Upadeshamrita means the one has to find an occupation which is not which is pure, not directly involved in sinful activities. So I don't know. You have to find some other job or something like that, or tell them that I can't do it. I can't serve chicken. It's beyond my like. Will a Muslim person agree to serve pork to anyone? They won't. They will say, I can't do this, it's against my religion. So if you stand up and say, no, it's against my religion, I can't really serve chicken, it's not what I can do. So you got to maybe stand up and say, and then maybe they will understand. If they don't, then you've got to change jobs, something like that. But if you continue doing this, it's going to be very detrimental to your spiritual life. So try not doing, try to come out as quickly as possible of this kind of situation. 757 purport. Chanakya Pandit says that if an honest person deals with a great cheater, it is necessary for him to become a cheater also, not for the purpose of cheating, but to make his preaching successful. Yeah, there's a verse. Shastram. I forgot. There's a verse. Yeah, so this is the quote from the Manusmriti. It's in the 5th chapter of Manusmriti. Those people say they are real followers of Madhvacharya and we are not, like gopis never existed and were invented by Goswamis, etc. The whole book is written where they show how our Shastra is wrong. Yes, there is that contention that we are not from Madhvas. But Srila Prabhupada also knew about this argument, and this was an old argument actually. And like Madhavendra Puri, how did he become, how is he part of Madhva line? Is a contest, is contested, that fact is contested by Madhvas. But Vishnu Gaya, there were a lot of Madhvas at the time, I think maybe even now. And Madhavendra Puri was not very far away from them. Probably somehow or other he got connected in that parampara like that. I'm not an expert in this subject, historical study of this subject, particular subject of the continuity of our parampara from Madhvacharya. But I have read a couple of articles on this. If great acharyas accept it, we got to accept. And if they say, oh, Madhvacharya, they are real followers of Madhvacharya and we are not. Gopis were never existed and were invented by Goswamis. Well, there is so much information about gopis in the Gopal Tapani Upanishad, the Srimad Bhagavatam. How can they deny? So, how to say? What to do? They may not accept. But we just have to go ahead and speak the truth. That's all I can say. Shathe Shathyam Acharet. Yes. Yeah, Shathe Shathyam Acharet. This is the thing. That means when we're dealing with a crook, then we have to deal with him like a crook. But not for the purpose of cheating him, but actually for preaching purpose. So, thank you for that reference. Alright, so we'll stop it here. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Sārvabhauma Śodhana ki jai, Gopinath Acharya ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Maybe I'll share a small PDF with you how they interpret Sanskrit, because I'm not an expert at it. You may share, and let's see. I don't know if I have time to combat that at this point, given a lot of services that are there. But yeah, you share with me, and maybe I'll go through it if I can, and come back with an answer or something. All right. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, they wrote a whole list of our parampara. The 32 names that are there in our parampara are actually taken from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur until his stage, and then after that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wrote, and then finally Prabhupada is after him. So that's how the whole lineage is mentioned. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur he gave all the names, whose disciple who was in our sampradaya. So anyway, how they became, we can find out. I have not gone into great detail in that subject. But thank you. You can share the PDF and I will see whether I can get to it. Alright, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.